So the search for freedom. When we think of something such as freedom, the mind may think it is something to acquire, something to attain, like being rich. As if you can just get enough money, then you'll be rich. Or if you can just get enough something, whatever it is, whatever this, magic key is, I will finally have freedom. Just like happiness. Maybe if I have enough good experiences, I'll finally be happy. But that never comes. That search can last a lifetime, and it'll never actually be complete. You'll never find freedom. Many people have searched for it, spend lifetimes, and they don't find it. Freedom is not something that you can really acquire. It's not something that you can gain. There's, even if you were completely free, there's always the possibility that in the future, something will happen to limit you. Whatever it is. Some situation will happen, maybe some mental thing, maybe some external situational thing. Something can happen that will limit you. And so even if you have freedom now, there's no guarantee that you'll have it forever. And so the search for freedom, it has nothing to do with what happens in the world. It is completely an internal experience. And really the recognition of freedom, or liberation as it's often called, is not something that happens to you. It's not something that happens to a me. It's what happens when the whole idea of a me is completely it just disintegrates. It vanishes. And then without a sense of self, it's like there's suddenly nobody home. There's nobody inside. There's no identity. There's no sense of self at all. And with no one here, there is no longer someone to protect. There's nobody to be free. There's nobody to accomplish anything. There's nobody who needs to be free of something else. That whole me and something else duality collapses. There's no longer a me who is trying to be free. The whole idea of me just, it vanishes. It was never there in the first place. It was just an idea of me which was being believed in. Almost like a self, maybe a delusion, we could say. You're just kind of kidding yourself, but you're actually believing in the sense of self. When the sense of me just completely evaporates, it was realized there never was a me there in the first place, just an idea of one. And I was free this whole time. This whole entire time I was free. And there's no longer any seeking to find the freedom. Because all there is freedom in this moment. It can only be found in this moment. Freedom in this moment. When somebody is told to, be fully in the moment, generally what they do is they're being totally with whatever content is arising in the moment. Maybe they're doing some activity, maybe, bike riding or driving really fast, or paying attention to their breathing, or listening to the sounds that are going on around. And so what's happening is awareness is focusing in on the content within this moment. All content is subject to change. All content is subject to change. It can't be found in content. Because if it was found in content, and all content is subject to change, if you could acquire a thing called freedom, freedom will change. Because everything within awareness changes. Freedom cannot be found within the content of this moment. It is only found in the moment itself. What does the moment feel like? Not the content of the moment, but the moment itself. Notice how it's completely empty. It has nothing to do with any content which arises in the moment, and yet at the same time it is not separate from the content of the moment itself. The moment is simply just here, unchanging and completely still. In the moment, not the content of the moment, but the moment itself, that's where freedom is found. The moment is all that will ever be here. The sense of self can change. It can disappear. It can become happier or sadder, or richer or poorer, or more stressed or less stressed. It is completely subject to change. And yet none of that is actually what you are in your very essence. The moment itself. It's like no words really need to be said. It's already here. Experience the moment. And then explore, in the moment, is there a separate self? Is there a sense of me who is separate from anything else in the world? And then explore, what is that? Is there really a me? You know, I can say, oh yes, there is a me, but that's just a thought. What is that thought attempting to point to? What is the me who is limited? There may be the experience of limitation or the experience of freedom, but who is it that experiences any of that? Freedom is about this. It's not about the experience of freedom, but about the one who would experience freedom, the experiencer. When the experiencer just kind of gets flushed out and basically disappears, there's just this moment, the aliveness and the presence of this moment itself. But there's nobody in the moment. It's a complete different take than thinking freedom is somehow something we're supposed to acquire or something to achieve or something to find. It is what's here when you're not. Yet you are. What you really are is here, without the veil of the separate self. That's freedom. Being who you really are. Quite purely and quite naturally. Freedom is only available now. It is only available in the moment. It may seem like it'll be achieved if you do the right practices, or if you surrender enough, or if you do enough self-inquiry. But all those practices, they're not designed to get you somewhere really in the future, but really strip away everything that is here now, that is not you, so that what is here and cannot be stripped away, we can call it the eternal whatever. This just eternal what this that is here. So that it can just flower and come to know itself. By stripping away all of the crud on the surface, the veil of separation, we could say, the sense of self. The sense of self is the veil of separation. Explore that. And if it feels real that there is a sense of self, find out what that is. What is the me that is separate from all else? See if you can find one. In freedom, there's no need to defend or protect or justify or impress or acquire or attain. It's the freedom just be whatever you are, totally freely, with no concern about what other people think, or whether you're going to look cool, or whether anybody will like you, or whether you'll get what you want. No expectations. None of that at all. Complete freedom.